Karen, you just mentioned that how hard it is for creators to create content, that everyone don't understand how hard it is, right?
Yeah.
What would be the best recommendation you would give to a brand, right, that wants to work with a creator and they don't know like anything. They don't know about how they do the content, what if they post a reel or post or stories. What would you be your first recommendation to a brand?
I think my first recommendation would be to choose wisely of the type of creator that you're going after, because a lot of times brands can get caught up with like, I want this wide reach, I want this creator because they're very famous, and it's like you need to know if the essence of that creator really blends well with your brand, or at least like the target that you're trying to reach. You know, something that I think about a lot is from the creator's standpoint, sometimes, you know, they don't know if they should work with certain brands or not. And like the brand could be very famous and they'll be like, wow, that's so exciting. But I like to use the filter of like, is this something that I would buy anyway? Is this something that I would use anyway? Because if not, it's not good for the brand. It's not good for the creator. You can feel it when it's like an arranged marriage and you're like, this is weird. Like this doesn't flow correctly. So I think for the brands, they have to be very wise of making sure that it's a creator that will really fit naturally. Obviously, they need to give them like guidance of the really important things to say, but be flexible and know that the more they like your product, the more they like the relationship with you, the creator is probably going to give you more than what you're asking for.
The organic, right?
Yes.
Like more organic, more being yourself. What about all the experiences that you lived during your time at Meta? Anything in particular, any experience in particular that you can remember? Like, of course, like at the Latin Grammys, or you can mention, I don't know, at the VidCon event.
Yeah.
Like, is anything that you can think of?
I mean, major. So, like for me, one of the highlights. There's two highlights that I think I can
in your
point out.
Experiences.
The first one was during my time at Meta. I helped create the first version of what eventually was called Creator Day, and we did this huge event in Los Angeles. We had like, I mean, it was like 250 creators or something that we had invited there, and I was gonna like open up the day. Like I had to like get on stage and, you know, welcome everyone. And the person coming after me was Fiji Simo, who was our COO, I believe, at the time. And I was so nervous because I'm like, this lady has no idea who I am. And I'm like, oh, whatever. And then, you know, I introduced her, and then she gave the mic back to me. And then after that, I had to introduce Nas Daily. And it was just like, here I am, like, I must be doing something right because these are these massive people, you know, and that was just really remarkable. But I loved it because it was the first time that, at least on behalf of the Facebook side, we had created a space and an event that was really centered around helping creators connect with each other and everything. I mean, whatever, that was then. Yeah. And then the last thing I think I'll say was that was like really memorable was just attending VidCons from around different parts of the world. I went to VidCon in California many times, which was amazing. And the last one that I went to, she went to, and she was
the last one that I went to.
Oh, really? And now I don't work there anymore, so I don't know what we're gonna do.
We're going there. We're going there.
You're gonna, of course.
We're going there.
But yeah, VidCons around the world. I spoke at VidCon Australia. You know, I did a lot of things, and I think VidCon is a very interesting conference. You know, the localized market ones are, I think, probably more unique in the sense that you're uniting larger territories together, right? Like the VidCon Mexico is probably one where you see creators from across Latin America versus the US is very US
very
focused.
Different. Yes.
Yeah. But those I think are for any creator that is maybe like just starting off or trying to figure out like, who do I want to be in this space? What do I want to get out of this space? I think VidCon helps just kind of open your mind. I don't think you're going to get like concrete things from it. Like you're not going to join a panel and be like, I'm going to start doing that right now. That's unlikely. But I think just being in the presence of other people who are at different levels of what you want to do could be really impactful for you.
Ooh, Okay, I have to say that I'm very impressed because I know that you took Meta from here to here, right? And now
Not by
it's
myself.
like, of course, with creators, with your relations, with your emotions, with everything, with the way that you work, that is so, so professional. And now you started a new path, right? Like, new way of living. I know probably you missed something at the beginning. At the beginning, you were missing some things, or how would you describe this, Karen? Because I know there were a lot there with your family that you couldn't have
Yeah.
enough time. Like,
Yeah.
how would you describe this new?
I mean, I think when you work at a company for so long and when you invest so much time in your career, it becomes such a big part of your identity. And then when you leave that place and you don't have anything to replace it with, you go through maybe a phase of like rediscovery and reinvention. And I think right now, this Karen today is in a moment of rediscovery, in a moment of reinvention, leaning into things that I maybe didn't have time to do before or that I was maybe nervous to do.
Your podcast is amazing. I know you
have
were doing it before, but
I have a podcast.
her podcast is amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I always think that everybody, you know, if your actual work is not creative and you are creative and you feel like you're a creative person, then you should have some sort of creative outlet. That's why I always support and believe in side hustles. You know, maybe being a creator is your side hustle. And if that's what you want to do, you should do that because maybe your day-to-day job doesn't have a lot of creativity or space for that. So I feel like now I'm just like leaning way heavily into creative stuff and I'm experimenting, and it's really weird to try to practice the things that I've educated people to do for so long.
And now you're doing it
and
too.
I'm doing it for fun. Yeah, I'm doing it for fun, and I'm just doing what I would normally do in my life, but I just happen to like record some of it now and then and like put it out and just see like what happens. I think it's a privilege to be able to take creator abilities very lightly, right? Because it's so hard with like, this is another thing that I dealt with a lot with creators. Like sometimes I wasn't really on the phone with them to give them advice about the platform or the algorithm. No. I was on the phone to give them advice as a human being and tell them that, you know, the comments that are put on your Instagram or TikTok are not yours. It's not really about you. It's just, you know, people on the internet are weird and like they have a lot of time on their hands and there's trolls and they suck. And that is not, you know, who you are. So I think, you know, that's like something that now I'm experimenting. I actually had a video go quote unquote viral because I started making it's
a lot of videos. Okay,
it's a joke.
You just put Karen on Instagram and you will find her. Like no last name, okay?
It's like so embarrassing. So I started making homemade dog food. My dog is 14. And I started making homemade dog food. And I was like, after getting confident with it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a quick recipe of my dog's food and just put it on Instagram, like, and see what happens. So the video now has like almost 500,000 views. And
that's my friend. Okay,
that's my friend. The trolls of the dog internet world came after me. And it was so funny to be able to like, now I have to practice everything I told creators for so long. Like, don't take it personal. Like, no. Me destrozaron. O sea, me destrozaron. But I'm like, guys, I don't care. My dog is eating this, and I guarantee you it's better than the stuff that I was giving him before. And I'm fine with it. And I spoke to a vet and a nutritionist and whatever. But of course, they're like, no, you need to make your own bone broth. I'm like, I'm not going to be boiling bones for no. O sea, I don't do it for myself. I'm not going to do it for my dog. But anyway, it was fun. It was fun to experiment. And I'm just in that. This is my era of creativity and just
love it. I love that you are
living and relaxing.
That you are living everything that you taught someday. Like
it's really
right.
It's
that
really,
you teach someday.
Yeah.
Okay, we're almost there. But I want to see what's the first thing. Like, what do you remember when I mentioned Influer? Because I remember when I show it to you in this big stadium. So I just want to see, what do you remember from the app? What was the first thing that caught your attention when I show it to you?
I mean, the first thing I thought, you know, obviously I was looking at it from the lens of somebody who works on the side of platforms and in that business every day. And I thought it was so unique to kind of remove the middle people between creators and brands and give them that opportunity to negotiate for themselves. The payment terms was like, yes, girl, because...
Hey, y se la enseñé literal like a year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and
2
I was
years
like,
ago.
That, because I feel so bad. Creators they put so much time and effort into a brand campaign, and then the brand, because they have loads of money, will take their sweet time. I will pay you in...
Net 90
days. And it's like, no, I actually need that money now. So I thought that was really special, and you know, I loved to watch you going around VidCon and showing other people Infleur, because I felt like you had this little diamond and you were like, look guys, I have a diamond. Look at this. And everybody who would see it, I think, had a really positive reaction. So I'm very proud of you, and I'm proud of the Infleur team and everything that you're on the journey to create together.
Thank you so much. Let's close with one advice for a creator and one advice for a brand. What would you say?
An advice for a creator is to don't be afraid to change.
Correcto.
So I think, you know, let's say that you started off as a creator who was a musician, or you started off saying like, oh, I'm a food creator. And suddenly you have a really big passion for something else. And I think you should try it, and I think you should go for it. And I think you shouldn't put yourself in a box, because even for normal people who are not creators, you have the right to change. And you know, you are one person in your 20s, let's say, if you have reached your 20s yet, and you're a completely different person in your 30s, and you have the right to change, and you have the right to evolve. And I think that creators shouldn't be afraid of that. And then for brands, I think they should just feel empowered to experiment too, and go with maybe an unlikely match or an unlikely creator that maybe is not super famous and is not super, you know, all the boxes that they have to check off, but that person might just bring a whole unique perspective in terms of their community to the brand.
Love it. Thank you so much, Karen.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much again. It was such a pleasure, like, to learn from you and to listen to your stories. So impressive.
I haven't said the word creator so much in like 4 months.
But now you're an Infleur, so okay, now you mention it. Yeah. Well, this was Infleur Talks. Thank you so much for being here with us. Please follow Karen, our special guest. Follow Infleur, follow us, like the founders, everybody. And remember to comment here, what do you want to hear? What special guests should we bring for the next opportunities? And that's it. See you next time.